Welcome back. It's Krista Living Sober. And today I have a special guest, Autumn. And even though she's not in recovery, she's coming on today to talk about how she changed her life, finding her faith in a power greater than herself. So, welcome, Autumn.
Hey,
How are you?
glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
So, I'm Autumn. I just had my 34th birthday on Wednesday.
Yay, happy
Um,
birthday.
Thank
Be like,
you. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm getting a little older now, but I did have a massage and a facial that my husband got for me for Christmas, so I did get to use that this week. I feel good today. Like I just feel good, and it's not just today, it's these past few years. Today, I'm a wife, I'm a mom. These are things that I always wanted in my life. I prayed and I prayed. And even though I didn't know really where they were going because I didn't have any spiritual direction, and it's been a struggle to get here. But, by the grace of God and a whole lot of trial and error, I am grateful that God has heard my deepest desires and has gotten me to the point that I am at now. So here's my story. And because I have ADD, I kind of go like all over the place. So if I sound
okay.
reading, it's because I am, but I will be open to any questions that you have, and whatever your podcast leads us to, we'll talk about.
All right. Sounds awesome.
There were three things that I struggled with my whole life, and they were confidence, an empty heart due to the lack of a father, and I guess just really confidence. It was just, I can double it up there. I said were because there are things in my life that have taken a turn for the absolute best these past few years. And I believe that it can happen for all of us, but we have to find our purpose in life. Isn't that what we're all searching for at the end of the day? Just our
Yeah.
purpose, why we're here, what we're supposed to do, where we're going next. Usually, like the world, it wants us to believe that we can be confident. Sure, we can be strong, we can be skinny, we can wear makeup to cover up our imperfections. It's all the outward appearance things. We can make great money. We can feel secure within our environment. Our friendships, they are going to be rooting for us. Hopefully, we have good families also rooting for us. We have supportive parents most of the time. For me, you know, what happened when I couldn't buy anything? Am I still happy? You just want more and more. Like nothing
Right.
is ever going to fulfill you. What about when the car breaks down and your bank account's running low, or you just feel completely drained? What about when we feel replaceable at work because our boss makes us feel worthless? Like when we ask for a day off because we just need it once in a while. What about when we're sick and we're feeling gross? We haven't showered in a day or two because we're just not feeling up for it. Do we still feel beautiful? I'm speaking from experience here, but I'm sure I can speak for most of us when I say that confidence levels are way down, especially during those times.
Teenager years and like just finding yourself. Totally.
And honestly, like I'm a mom now and my confidence was shot because I just kind of gave everything to her. I
Yeah.
tried to, get her from an early age. She's only 5 now, but I tried to get her always to like feel secure within herself. But for me, like my confidence, the truest confidence came when I was 30, and that's when I finally came to Christ. I am a Christian. Now, because we're not created to be perfect and we make mistakes, I cannot say that I never have days of doubt, but the good days should outweigh the bad days significantly when you're walking with Christ, because his goal for you is for you to live your life meaningfully, purposefully, joyfully, and eternally. Our world has unfortunately created ways of making us feel less than all of this greatness, and it's sad. I know for me, I was able to have my mom home if I was able to have my mom home all the time, and if I was able to have my father in my life, I think I would have dealt with less insecurities. Still, they would be present, but I feel like that structure would have been better for me to overcome a lot of those. I grew up in Massachusetts. I went to public school. I was there with you.
Yeah.
I have a younger sister, and we were both raised by our mom, solely just a single mother. She never dated. There was never like a potential for a male influence in our lives. But I do commend my mom for putting her life to the side in order to be the best supportive mother that she could be. And she did an excellent job. although I presented a lot of challenges.
It
Um,
happens.
yep, I definitely was a bit of a tomboy. I clicked more with the guy friends. By sixth grade, I started gaining a lot of weight and lost all my friends that I had in elementary school to now new middle school cliques. I finally got some friends, and it was what I needed at that point in my life. But middle school was incredibly hard, and it still is, especially more for the younger generations today.
Oh yeah.
And add this pandemic, this awful pandemic into the, it's just,
It's crazy.
uh,
Yeah.
I had a steady weight gain until a dramatic weight loss of about 80 pounds around my senior year of high school. And this is kind of where things started to turn for me because I was now getting a lot of attention. And what teenage girl doesn't like attention?
Right.
Well, all of this attention resulted into a lot of soul draining because for so many years I was aware that I was chasing the affection that I lacked from having no father present in my life. But moving on, I maintained pretty lengthy relationships. And of course, each one I thought was I was going to marry until I finally decided that they just weren't what I was, wanting to settle down for. And then we broke up. As far as the drugs in my life, I had always smoked weed. About 13 is when I started smoking like regularly every day. It almost became like a mission every day. Who can I flirt with, get some weed, like just, all day, every
Right.
day. It was like this never ending cycle. And then finally, when I got a little bit older, I think about 18, I got introduced to more, which now was like Coke and ecstasy. And I was just like, wow, these are great. Looking back, I'm amazed how much fun I thought I got from these, but it was all just reckless behavior that kept steering me in
Mhm.
directions, dangerous situations. And despite my natural strength, there were a lot of times that I was not able to defend myself. And it's all because I got myself
Mhm.
into a sticky situation and I couldn't get out of it.
So, do you think you had a problem with drugs or drinking or anything, or like it kind of wasn't addiction for you? It was more like experimental.
Yeah, I was definitely like, wow, these are fun. I liked that I thought it was kind of like giving me confidence, but it was keeping me skinny because I was just like not eating.
Right. Yeah.
I was never like so skinny where I was like worried about it. I mean, I've always been like a little heavier and that's fine. I liked feeling carefree, like unstoppable.
Right.
It's just like, I mean, these are all uppers. So I was just like on cloud
Yeah.
nine all the time, like foggy headed, not giving a
Mhm.
care in the world about what anybody thought, did. I just was like living life.
Right. That was your escape.
Yep,
Mhm.
it definitely was. And, I look back now and I thank God for protecting me, even though I had no relationship with him
Right. Right.
yet.
Mhm.
With the help of those drugs, I definitely maintained a smaller frame, like I said. I thought it was like continuing on with this whole confidence thing that I had gotten. I was dancing at parties. I wasn't in the corner anymore with my black hoodie on, like no hood up. I wasn't that shady kid anymore.
Mhm.
I was flirtatious. I liked the party scene. I really thought like, wow, this is like what I've been waiting so long to get in my life. I'm just like stepping completely out of my shell. But seeing myself now, I realized how like really, really lost I was. And I kept digging deeper and deeper into the darkness. Because like you see, like Satan, he has a way of glorifying the negative things to make them look like it's a positive light in your life. But we would never consciously walk into the darkness because it's a
Mhm.
scary place. So it has to seem fun, it has to seem tantalizing, exciting. And then after you've crawled yourself into that rabbit hole, it takes a lot of waking up and so much effort and work to get yourself out. Through all of this, all these parties and all that, I maintained a few jobs. I went to trade school after I graduated high school. I was going to work. It was never an issue for me, other than waking up
Mhm.
early, which I still don't like to do.
So at that time, your life didn't really become unmanageable. You were just functioning, and were you still using or drinking or?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted to get my paycheck so
Yeah.
that I could go out and do that more that weekend.
Right.
But then, like you struggle all week. So it's like, that's kind of part of what I was going to speak about is that. So in this time, I wish that I had known God better because I really needed somebody there. And, my mom, she was always working a lot to just support us. It was just like a never ending cycle of not having money during the week.
Yeah.
Why I was exhausting myself at work just to support partying on the weekend. It just, it all seems so silly to me now. But thank God for waking me up. Still took some time from where I'm at in this story, but
Hmm.
I'm here now.
So you were still functioning, working, are you still after high school?
I went to massage school. I did that for a little bit. During that time, I was still dating somebody, but they were kind of like controlling. See, like they were like Egyptian, so
Hmm.
it was just like a little controlling. And I just kind of felt like as a woman,
Hmm.
I felt like inferior to him, and I didn't like that feeling. I never had like a strong dominant male in my life so that I like ever had to have that feeling. It was always just like women, women, women in my
Right.
life. So it was just uncomfortable, and we eventually ended that. And it probably wasn't long before I was on to the next person,
Hmm.
because I always wanted to have like a boyfriend in my life, because my
Yeah.
ultimate goal, like I said at the beginning, was to get married and have kids. Like
Hmm.
that's what I've always wanted. That has been always my dream, my deepest desire. And
Right. And I feel like some of us who don't have the dad figure, the birth dad figure or that male figure in our lives, then we
mhm,
tend to be more codependent, I think. And it's just you want to fill that gap with a guy in your life, and it's just so hard to be single, you know.
yep. Well, when I was 21, I think it was 20 or 21,
Hmm.
my sister and we had an opportunity from my grandfather, which is my dad's dad, to go see my dad for the first time. So my mom was comfortable with it. We took a plane ride out to Texas, and then we drove like 800 miles in the back of like a small pickup truck to go up to Colorado to visit my dad. So
Wow.
I was super fine the whole ride. And then we were like 2 miles from him. We were working our way up the mountain because he just
Hmm.
like lives in isolation.
Okay.
And I jump out nervous as heck,
Hmm.
and my feet get all muddy because he's like up there, living the
Yeah.
mountain life. And so I met my dad, and it was cool, but because of all the stories I heard growing up, I wasn't scared of him. I was scared of the experience.
Hmm.
Like, what is he going to think of me? All these
Yeah.
insecurities started surfacing, and
Hmm.
like I wanted him to just know what he left behind, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. No,
So,
I can relate to that with my birth mother. I've
yeah.
only visited with her probably a few times since being 18, and since being younger, and it's just so awkward every time. I mean, I don't have hate for her today. I love her. I forgave her, but
Mhm.
I get that. It's
Well,
scary, and then I never met my birth dad, so I couldn't imagine how that would go.
and for me, I truly feel that the key to happiness is forgiveness, and
Oh yeah.
it's the hardest thing. But I was only able to stay up there for like less than 24 hours due to the altitude. I didn't even know that I got altitude
Hmm.
sickness,
Oh
but
wow.
I did. And I also feel like that was a God moment in my life, because I feel like now he was kind of trying to tell me, like, if you stay any longer, it's going to get sour. So just enjoy this while
Hmm.
it's nice, and let's get you out of here. But at the same time, I was just like so grateful to have that time with him, because after that, I literally felt the void was full. I was like, wow, my mom, she knew. It wasn't that she never wanted to date. She knew that if my father had stayed in my life, our lives would have been significantly harder, and they were already hard. But my mom, she was just like
Yeah.
the best mom. She knew. So it was nice to meet my dad.
Hmm.
It was nice for my sister to be doing it with me because we're really close in age. It definitely, I think, hit me in a different way than it hit my sister.
Hmm.
I'm just glad that we got to experience it together. And what I took from that, I have brought with me into the life that I have now. Because from my daughter, she has her dad present in
Hmm.
her life, and it works for us.
Yeah.
it's truly like God's plan. And I hope that anybody out there who can relate to my story finds somebody special to share a family with, because I think it is the ultimate goal to have two parents. And no matter if it's a mom and a dad, or an aunt and an uncle, or a grandparent, or a fostered family, or an adopted, no matter what it is, we need to have a male and a female influence in our life to make us feel confident and secure within ourselves. And it's my belief.
I agree.
I know that there's others that might disagree, especially in the world that we are today.
And some people are single moms, single parents, and that's
Yeah.
hard, but
And we got to do what we got to do.
Right.
If it happens, we have no control over who's going to pass in our lives.
Right.
We don't know who's going to die. We don't know when. This only God knows. And sometimes you do. You just have to pull yourself together and do something that you didn't think that you were capable of doing, putting your life on the side for the sake of your kids. And that's a strong parent, in my opinion. I guess the question now is kind of like, where I'm at is, how did I come to God? Well, I grew up in a Catholic church until my confirmation year, when my mom asked me if I wanted to be confirmed, and that it would take effort on my end to accomplish that. And that's why I declined. I fell away from church completely. And to be honest, I never really felt welcomed there. It was too quiet for me. I had ADD, ADHD, and I just like wanted to jump all around. I wanted to be loud. I wanted to just speak out of turn. And I just always got like the snarky looks, or the comments, or the whispers. And I didn't feel welcomed there. Fast forward to the age of 24. I'm now working north of Boston, and there was a local Christian sober living booth outside of my work that day. And of course, like, my eyes were always wandering, and I saw a cute boy. So I introduced myself, and he came into my work like probably every 20 minutes, just for any excuse that he could think of. Can I get some water? How are you? It's not busy right now. And I was just like, okay. So we finally exchanged phone numbers. And he said he didn't have a phone because of the program rules, but that he could call me from the house phone to let me know where they would be next time. So I decided to meet up with him on my days off, and we would hang out. I know it was not accepted by the facility, but he bent the rules, and of course I was aware. So if they were to come around when he was there, I could kind of like wander off and, just be like on stealth mode. One day he just kind of told me that he was going to leave the program, that he felt like it was holding him back, that the place let him have no freedom. We had gotten pretty serious by this point, so we knew each other fairly well, and the feelings were definitely there.
And if you don't mind me asking, what was his drug of choice, or what was he in there for?
It was heroin.
Okay.
Yep. So after he left the program, which they did not want him to do.
How long was he there?
I think he was there for 9 months.
Okay.
He was there long enough where he was okay to start going out into the field and like the donation booths and all that kind of stuff. That's how I met him, with the donation booth.
Right.
So he moved into a homeless shelter, which was closer to my mom's. So that was kind of good. And now I knew like where he was all the time. We were able to see each other more often. He had been sober for a good amount of days, even still in that program, the new homeless shelter. And he seemed like a decent person. I think I've always had a pretty good judge of character. My mom knew about him and offered that he would come live with us until he got a job so he could support himself better. I realized today, like, how much my mom loved me to have this stranger who was older than me to move in. And he was the only guy. And he was, he was physically strong looking. She was kind of really putting all of us into a vulnerable position, but she trusted me. So one day I get home from work, and he is in like, I think he was on my couch, needle in hand. I can't remember if his eyes were closed or not, but I remember like that stunned factor of, you just relapsed in my mom's house. And I was like, this can't be tolerated. And, it's disrespectful to my mom. She let you come here. We're not paying anything to like live here. So I was like, this can't happen again. And he made me feel secure enough that he felt bad that he had relapsed. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to put any more guilt on you. You know where I stand on this. It can't happen again. So we went on for a little while and we were fine. I think he had gotten a job at that point. He was painting. He was making decent enough money that we decided to go get him a car. So he upgraded from that car and we ended up walking out with a truck that day. So I had to sign on because I had the longer job, more paychecks to, prove the income. And so I'm the primary owner now of like a $30,000 truck. And then to tack more on, we decide, oh, this dog needs a new home. Let's bring him into my mom's house. My mom wasn't too happy with that. So she told us, all right, well, if you want to keep the dog, you guys are going to have to move out. And we were like, all right. And I had moved out before, but it was all just temporary. Now we're like really officially moving out and not just like down the street, like 45 minutes away.
So you found a place first. She didn't
Yep.
like kick you out, like, okay.
Yeah, she didn't kick us out, but like the moving out was like,
it was like abrupt, like
get on this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You want to keep the dog? I already have a dog. And, so the pressure was on and we moved out. The day that we moved in, he lost his job.
Oh, no.
And I should have realized like how bad he was kind of falling back into his lifestyle, but I didn't really see it, I guess.
Yeah, he was hiding it from you. Like
super.
Concealing it, yeah.
Yep. And I was busy with work. It was like now a 6-hour commute for me because we lived the southern part of Massachusetts and I worked in Boston.
Right.
So the smartest way to do that was, driving to the T, then taking the T in. So it was a 6-hour each day commute. It was not fun at all. And I'm like, I can't quit because we're living off of my paycheck now. And now I have this truck and this dog and this apartment and our bills. Like adulthood just like slammed me in the face.
It was a lot of pressure on you too, though.
Absolutely. And so while I'm working, he's out supposedly looking for a job, but I later find out that he was just finding local dealers and digging himself deeper and deeper into his drug addiction. At this point, we're fighting all the time. Finally, the day came when he punched me right in my face. And I do not play around with that kind of stuff. Like I should have seen when he was yelling in my face. I should have been able to like see all the signals that led up to this moment. And now I do, but that's years later. But I think at the end of the day, he was just full blown back into his addiction because he had lost that confidence in himself, and then losing the job, that didn't help. And now like what kind of man wants his wife or girlfriend supporting them? Like it doesn't make them feel like a man. He hit me. Yep. The next day I got a restraining order. He gets served. The police escort him to get his stuff. And now I'm out 30,000 on a truck that he drove off with. And I'm also out a dog. Now I'm in ton. He took the dog. Yep. And now I have like all this other debt. I'm behind on my rent. On top of that, the only way of getting to work, which was my car, it needed new brakes. It needed an oil change. It's just like down, down.
Yeah.
Yep, of course. That's what happens.
One thing after the other.
Yep. So now I'm just living like so broke. My landlord hates me. He lives on the first floor. I can't avoid him. So I see him all the time. And it's a constant reminder of how much I'm failing in life. I finally find a job closer to home. It was about 2 miles. So I decided I can just walk it, but I worked second shift and it's a pretty busy city. So walking home isn't a good look for a young female late at night, but I was okay. And I'm just kind of at that point now in my life, even though I'm still not close to God, I was just like, everybody is always aware of God. You know what I mean? It's on the dollar bill. It was, we always learned about in our generation growing up in school. It was always God. So I'm like, okay, God, if you're real, I could use some help here. But it was at that moment that things started turning around in my life. And I felt like he did hear me and felt like I was ready to start making adjustments in my life. Not that I really wanted to start getting close to him, nor that I was ready to like accept help. But if he was real, he was going to do it. And I just put that thought in my head. So let me tell you how real he was, because my story really changes now.
Of course.
So now I'm 26, I'm still struggling. I'm 3 years deep into this dramatic lifestyle. I'm still behind on all my bills. Everything is still the same. But I'm finally living alone and I'm feeling safe. I have a couple roommates come and go, one of which ended up being a meth addict. So
Mhm.
when he got arrested, I, changed out his whole room, tried to get it ready, found like all this paraphernalia. And I
Yeah.
was just like, wow, I didn't like,
You
how
didn't
blind
notice?
am I? How freaking blind am I to not see all of this stuff around me? But at the same time, like, I've got my own stuff going
Right.
on, and I just kind of expected him to move in and pay
Mhm.
rent, and it
I
wasn't
mean,
happening.
well, that's also the disease of addiction,
Hmm.
like it's so easy once addicts are in that state to be able to hide it from people and
Oh
people
my
will have
gosh,
no idea, and it's crazy.
it really is. And like, those are, I have the people in my life that are in my past life that I just
Mhm.
pray for now.
Right.
And unfortunately, some of them have overdosed themselves into a
Mhm.
death.
Yep.
And I just pray for their families now.
Same.
It's just, it's sad and it's a
Mhm.
never ending cycle. And I hope that everybody knows that you can come out of it.
You
You
can.
can. It's an adjustment, it's work, but you're doing the work to support your habit. So just do the
Right.
work to get yourself better, and
Mhm.
it is possible. But for me,
Yeah.
I just believe that everything is possible through Christ.
I
That's just
agree.
where I'm at. So the man that I pulled up next to on a Friday night at Dunkin' Donuts
Mhm.
is the man that I am married to today, and we share a daughter together.
Aw,
I
how that
had,
worked out. It's like when
yeah,
you least expect it, God provides, right?
I did not expect this to come because it was a
Right.
Friday night. I had a female roommate at the time, and she was like, "Can you just bring me my charger, please?" And I was just like, "Dude, like, you've been aggravating me for like the past 2 weeks. You haven't paid me rent in over 2 months." I was
Mhm.
like, "I just don't want to do anything to help you right now." But I was just like, "I'm sleeping. I'm gonna look like crap, but I will come bring you your freaking charger."
Right.
So I go and I bring her charger. I pull up next to this truck, and like at this point I was kind of like feeling myself, so I just like stuck my hand right in his car door window and I was like, "Hey, I'm Autumn." And that's like how our relationship started. So I always kind of joke at him because
That's funny.
it is funny. It was so random. We moved to Rhode Island about a year and a half later. We moved to Rhode Island because my mom wanted to be closer to my daughter.
Okay.
She also wanted to downsize. She didn't need her big house anymore, and it's
So
just
did
her.
she move to Rhode Island too?
Yeah,
That's
so she
awesome.
she got us a duplex house. We live on one side. She still lives on the other side. My daughter is super close with her, which is amazing because
Yeah.
I never had that relationship with my grandma. And life is just it's good in Rhode Island, but
Yeah, I agree.
it took us time to even get to where we are now because for the first few years that we lived here, we've lived here for this year will be 6 years. So the first couple years, we weren't going to church. We were like, who's God? What's that?
Yeah.
But because he owns a construction business, I wanted to get his name out in this new community.
Mhm.
So I noticed that the church near us, they were putting an addition onto their church. And I was like, well, I'm just going to reach out to them and see if they need a hand. And they got back to me and said, we would love that. And I said, well, we're very local,
Mhm.
he can put in some hours after his day job and just help out. He's very skilled. So one thing kind of led to another, and he just got a little close to these guys, and they were all super cool, down to earth, like very real. Like they
Yeah.
know that they're not perfect. Um, and so one day he was like, I just kind of feel like obligated to go to the church. Like, and I was like, all right, well, I'll come with you. Not really thinking anything of it.
Mhm.
Well, the first time that we went to church together,
Mhm.
it was this lady speaking who's now actually one of the elders of our church. She's an amazing person.
Mhm.
But her testimony that day and her story that day, it was all focused on how the man is the man of the household and how the woman should, submit to her husband. and
Mhm.
and I'm just thinking, like, lady, my mom was my mom and my dad. I
Right.
do not believe in anything that you're speaking of right now. But
Mhm.
you know what? I can't fault her because she just lives her life by the Bible. And let me
Right.
tell you, this woman is full of joy,
Yeah.
full of joy. She loves her life. And so I was like, you know what? I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and I'll come to another service. So my husband, well, my boyfriend at the time, we're married now. We decided to go back. And the next time we went in, I was just like, this is unbelievable. I was never like an emotional person. I didn't cry a lot. But I was in like full blown tears just during the worship part. It was just the songs. I didn't even get to the message yet.
So is that
And
kind of your spiritual awakening moment, like
it
when you joined the
definitely,
church and then started like accepting it?
yeah. So the feeling that I got was like an internal goosebump. It literally felt like goosebumps, but like
Yeah.
on the inside of my
Mhm.
body. And so I finally asked the pastor one day and I was like, let me be real with you. I am in my 20s. I do not believe in God, believe in like this concept of
Right.
a God. I was like, I don't really fit in here, but let me tell you that I feel different coming to this church. And he was like, well, what do you feel like? And I was like, I have like internal goosebumps and I'm getting emotional and this is not me. And he was like, you know what that is, right? And I was like, no. He's like, that's the Holy Spirit. And I was like, wow. And I was like, well, I'm not sure that I like this feeling. It's weird for me, but I don't feel bad. It's not like scary. It's awakening kind of.
Yeah, spiritual
So we
awakening.
yeah, we kept going to church and it was just one person after another greeted us with just so much love in their hearts. They were so kind. They always admitted their own faults. They knew that we were new to church and they wanted to make us feel welcomed. I didn't really understand the difference between having like religious habits versus having a relationship with God. And the relationship with God is what keeps people around.
Yeah.
So I started to develop that. I discovered that I could just talk to him like I'm talking to you right now. And I could be, I could be on the toilet in my most vulnerable state. I could be sick. I could be crying. I could be angry. I could feel any type of emotion, and he's just going to accept me how I am. So I try to, constantly thank him and praise him. And he's what I need to keep moving forward in my life. So that's why we are at where we are today. We're having a great marriage. We are great parents. We have a lot of support from our community. I definitely had a spiritual awakening in my church, and that's what keeps me around. The ladies and everybody that goes there, they're all a lot older than me, but I feel like they're just friends. We do Bible studies on Saturday night. Like, I never saw that one coming.
Yeah.
I never saw
Right.
like a women's study on Tuesday mornings, bright and early. Like,
That's awesome. Yeah.
it is. It really is. And a couple years after going to the church pretty regularly, an an opening for a potential food pantry came my way, and I was like, I guess I'll do it. And at that point, I really needed that. I didn't know that until I started it. But just like being a stay at home mom, I was just getting so depressed. I was like, I just felt like a constant failure. And I could feel myself, even though I had that spiritual awakening, I could feel myself like declining now. And I just felt like a failure. And like I was never good enough. I wanted to just like sleep all day and be super lazy. And so God was like, you need this. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to trust your lead. So now I run a food pantry and my husband is the deacon of our church.
Oh, nice.
And it's just,
That's
it's
amazing.
so crazy. Life is just,
Mhm.
you don't know what's coming next for you.
Right.
And it could be bad, it could be good. I just believe like if you are doing what the Lord wants you to do, you
Mhm.
will not fail. And he won't give you so much so to make you feel like, oh, I can't do this anymore. You just have to trust him. I kind of feel like with coming to Christ, it feels from what I've experienced through others, because I wouldn't consider myself an addict. ever.
Yeah, but it just
But
goes to show that no matter who you are in the world, like we all have issues, we all have stories, we all go through similar situations, and it doesn't have to, like, you don't have to be addicted to drugs. You know, you can have so many different addictions, so many
yep.
different like issues, mental problems, whatever it
Hmm.
may be, and you were affected by addiction somehow. And I feel like it's gonna be in life no matter what, like if you're affected, if you see it, you know what I mean? And it just comes to show you that you can change your life when you give it over to God, when you find a greater purpose and a greater higher power that
Yep.
can, like, you know, give you such a new life. And I live by God too. Like, it's just unbelievable.
Like some days you're just like, I can't handle it today. And on
Yeah.
those days, I'm just like, can you just take this from me? Because I
Yeah.
don't know what to do with it. I don't know
Hmm.
how to think, how to feel, anything to do. Like, you know it, you just do it. Just do it
Yeah.
for me, or give me
Hmm.
some insight onto how to do it. But like,
Hmm.
even the first few years that we, like after we got baptized, we're now like born again, or like the new term
Hmm.
is saved Christians.
Yeah.
I mean, we started to really go through the ringer. And I kind of look at it now as similar to like an addict,
Hmm.
where you have to go to like that breakdown process to build yourself back up new.
Hmm.
And I feel like for an addict, it's, finding new friendships, but like finishing off the old ones to get that old lifestyle
Yeah.
out of your system. So now we're kind of in like this building up process in our relationship and in our faith together, because we're
Right.
still not married at this point. And
Hmm.
technically, we have a child together, we're living together. We are living in sin. So, it's not like we're making him happy, but he's still like wanting to improve our lives,
Hmm.
which I was just like, wow, like, why me? Like, I never thought like I am just like this special person who deserves any of your love. But he's just like, but I created you.
Right.
You are special. And I'm going to show you what your purpose is in life. And all that confidence that you've been chasing your whole life through all these different people, you're finally going to figure out is within you. And was never gone. It's just like laying dormant in you, and you have to open up that door.
I love that. So you had an aha moment, and like
Yes.
I feel like when I finally accepted and understood that I was a child of God and I didn't need like the mom, the dad, the whatever, you know what I mean? And I could find that in the Father, in God. Like I was like, wow, like I'm not alone. But
Nope.
forever that was like my thought, my feelings, and why I used
Hmm.
the abandonment, you know, the all of that.
We
But
have to find our self-worth.
yeah,
And
you
it's
know,
hard in the world that we live in now.
you know.
Like, you don't need to be skinny, you don't need to be heavy. You do need to feel
Mhm.
good in
Yeah.
yourself, but
You need to love yourself.
I feel like the ultimate affection for yourself
Mhm.
didn't come from me until I welcomed Christ into
Right.
my life fully.
Mhm. It's amazing because I look back and I'm like, he was always there for us. Like when we were just so oblivious to it or
He was
shaming
protecting
his
us.
name, but yeah,
Yeah,
forever a child of God, even when we didn't see it.
that's absolutely right. So
Mhm.
that's kind of like how I'm raising my daughter now. And I mean,
Mhm.
she goes to like the kids' church on Sundays, and
Mhm.
it's just like who she wants in her birthday party to go
Mhm.
bowling is like church people,
Yeah.
like these older ladies, and she just loves them
Oh.
and they love her. And
Mhm.
I mean, they give her things because they know that's what kids want. They want
Yeah.
tangible gifts.
Mhm.
So one lady brings her socks, like
Oh.
just new
Yeah.
socks every now and then, and they're too big for her, and she loves wearing them. And like the sole part is like midway up her calf. It's so freaking cute.
Yeah.
But she just loves these people, and I'm just like I sit down and we do homeschool,
Mhm.
and at the end of our homeschool day, we're now doing this thing of reading two chapters out of the Bible,
I
because
love
I
that.
did not understand the Bible at all. I can't focus. I've always been like that all through school. You tell me to do homework, and I'm going to
Mhm.
skim through it the day that I get into school that we have a quiz on it, because I otherwise will not remember what I read. But I made a promise to God, and in return I asked for him to do something for me. And I said, God, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to read the Bible every day during school, 5 days a week at least. And then of course we do the Bible study on Saturday. And I said, in return, I need for you to give me the clarification to understand it. And since I started working on making that active in our day, it has becoming clearer and clearer to me. So it's just like, you give a little and he'll give even more.
Right.
It's work. It's a
Yeah.
relationship like any other relationship. It's work. You have to call your friends to stay friends because sometimes they're not going to call you. You
Right.
have to call and you check up on your mom. You have to, like, now I'm a wife and a mom, and I have so much that I'm obligated to. And it's okay if I don't touch base with my friends every day because we'll get around to it. And I
Yeah.
feel like everybody is having kids and we all just have our lives. So it's not
Right.
like, it's not something that I need to proactively work on every day because we all just understand each other.
Hmm.
And if I have those friends who make me feel like I am less than because I'm not reaching out, I'm just kind of at that point in my life where I'm just like, okay,
Yeah,
well,
it's like you don't need that
exactly.
negativity. Yeah.
Exactly. So I just I just really want everybody on your podcast, who has been on it, will be on it, listens to it, has heard about it. I just really want everybody to know that, like, you are so worth it every single day of your life, no matter what state you're in, what place you're living in, how much money you've got in your bank account. Like, you are worth it. And if you start actively walking in a life with God, He will improve it for you. And that is a promise because I am a living testimony for
Yeah.
that.
Me too, girl.
Um, and it's really, if you want joy in your life, you're not going to find it on your own. You can't buy enough things to make you happy. You can't take enough medicine to take the pain away. God will do miracles in your life. And I do promise that from the deepest part of my heart. I want for everybody to get those inner goosebump feelings because we all deserve it. And you're going to go through the ringer. Everybody I know, like, almost instantly after they get baptized, everything starts falling apart. And I promise that is the beginning of your building up process.
Mhm.
Just get through it. It'll be worth it. I promise. And so, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of my story, but I'm open to any questions.
That's amazing. You kind of found your own sobriety from a life that became kind of
Boy obsessed, confident,
uncontrollable and like,
stressed.
yeah, it sounds like you've been through so many different emotions and so many different hard times, and like for you not to fall in addiction, that was kind of huge because it sounds like you could have from
I
your
mean,
roommates or anyone, but you had that drive, you still lived.
I remember, like, when I was talking about my car and how I was having issues and
Hmm.
how I started having to walk to work. Well,
Yeah.
I remember getting on the phone with my mom and not directly asking her to help me because I know that she could have,
Yeah.
but I was kind of just like, Mom, like the whole pity thing. My car is not working. I have to work late. I'm going to have to really, like, walk down a scary street in the middle of the night. And she was kind of just like, well, Autumn, everybody has to go through hard times in their life. And if you don't have to go through hard times, you're never going to know what your strength is. So she,
Right.
like, forced me into going through, like, a really hard time.
Mhm.
And man, like, I really benefited from that. Just
Yeah.
her, like, saying, no, I'm not going to help you in so many words, that pushed me to just really figuring out what my potential is. So for anybody who is going through a separation in a relationship with your parents, if you're struggling with addiction, any kind of addiction, or self-worth less, like, nobody should help you. You have to
Yeah.
help yourself. You can
Yeah.
get through it.
And you can only
And
help yourself. Yeah.
yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like you're the one who has to look in the mirror back at yourself, and you need to be proud of the person that you are. And for me, becoming proud of myself, loving myself came with my struggle.
Yeah, and it's like so much has to fall apart so you can put it back together. And I know that sounds like crazy, but it's so true because then
It
you get
is.
to build that foundation
Hmm.
from scratch. And yeah,
So we're good today. Where
we are.
I really love my life. And like,
Do you have a favorite quote from the Bible?
Exodus 15:2, which is, the Lord gives me strength and protects me. I will praise him. And he does. He gives me strength. He protects me. And I do praise him in return, because God, like, that's all he wants, is he wants to know that we love him. It's kind of like the gas in his tank to keep going for us. And like, we're not lost causes. Something that we do, whether we're consciously aware of it or not, will fill his tank.
Right.
And it kind of goes hand in hand with like the love languages. Like, everybody's got their language of love, and for him, it's just, he wants our love. That's it. Quality time with him, giving him love, and that's really like the key to that relationship.
And what are you most grateful for in your life today?
Oh my gosh, I am
I mean, I
so
know there's a lot, but
I know, but to sum it all up, like, I am so grateful for my church. I love my pastor. He is an amazing person. His wife is even more incredible. And my husband, he is an incredible, incredible man. And our relationship, to see where it is now and how we've gotten here these past 8 years, it's just like, I never saw it coming. And then to have our daughter, everybody just loves her. She really is. She is a light. People use the word light so freely, like the word love. Oh, I love that. I love this, love that. It's not. Like, light is a dedicated person to God, and that is his light that comes on you. It's like when you fall in love and you have like that glow, or you're pregnant, you have like your pregnancy glow. Like, it's a light from him, and there's no other light.
Feel it, you can sense it. Oh my God, it's just so different from the life we had before until you like, get
People
into God. Like, I can't
people
even describe.
people come into the food pantry that I run, and they look at me and they're like, you just look happy. And I'm like, I am happy.
No, you
Like,
do. You're
let me tell
radiating.
you how to be happy.
Like, I
Because,
knew you before.
yeah,
And I
I
know you
know.
now, and it's just a whole 180. Like, you're happy, beautiful, joyful, like everything. And you
And I
can
have none
totally
of my
tell.
friends.
No, neither do I,
I have
girl.
none of my friends, but I
You
have
know
my
what?
great husband. I have my
Yeah,
mom living next
same.
door.
And that's
I
all
have my
you
church
need.
down
Your
the
family
road.
and the people who support you, the people who love you.
That's what
And
it's all about.
it really is. Yeah. I love
You
it.
know, we can't prioritize our friends over our family, because family, that's really where it's at. And for me, my family is my mom and my sister.
Yeah. Same.
Unfortunately, the rest of my family, like, they don't reach out, except on like the occasional holiday text.
Same.
And like, for me, I'm just like a very deep person, and I need to have depth in my relationships. I need to feel like I can and trust you with things that I'm talking to you about, and vice versa. Like, that's how I connect with people. So to be running this food pantry and being able to connect with people, that's how I know that I'm meant to be here, because I've always done like the sales jobs, the customer service jobs. So I've been able to take all of that from my past, which is why I know that it was there for a reason, because I'm now bringing it to this job that I'm not getting paid for. But let me tell you, like, I
But
am
you're
getting
getting paid in
for
a
it.
different way. Yeah.
Exactly.
Giving
Um,
back and
so
being of
those skills
service.
that those skills that I acquired are being used. So even though you might be at a point in your life where you're not serving the Lord or praising him, he has your path laid out. We have no control over that, but we do have a choice. That's what he gives us, is a choice. And for me, I finally chose, and I chose to do something out of my comfort zone, and now I am living this amazing life. I'm seriously very blessed, and I'm sincerely happy. And I was actually thinking about it earlier, and I'm like, why when you go and party in your younger years, like, why do you go to the most dangerous places? You go to like cliffs, you go into the woods, start getting it. Like,
He just
why do
didn't
we
have
do that?
any care. Why?
Nope, nope, not at
That
all.
was the darkness. That was definitely the dark shit.
It was the glorified darkness, like
Ugh.
I said earlier.
But we had no idea.
Nope. Now we do. We're
Yes.
we
Thank
are the
God.
true woke.
Yes, I agree. Well, I really loved having you on. I loved listening to your story and learning more about you. And I'm so proud of
Thank
you
you.
and everything that you've accomplished. And
Thank you.
yeah, of course.
And I
Um,
mean, if I have another word that I should come back on here and share another part of my life, I would love to do that too. I mean, I've
of
got a lot to
course.
say about motherhood and
Yeah,
being a
that would be awesome.
stay at home wife and,
Mhm.
kindergarten. It's just like it's a lot. I have a lot going on right now. And I'm about to have more cuz we're going to offer a new program at my food pantry,
Oh,
but I mean, I would love to come on
yeah,
anytime you need someone.
of course. And I'll definitely keep you on the list. Thank you
But
so much.
you're
And
welcome.
yeah, I'll probably reach out to you anyway about some stuff. I love ya.
All right, love you guys. Bye. Thank
Have
you.
a blessed day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.